When it comes to AI and art generation, I generally like to use tools on my own computer. I don't like relying on services that I have to subscribe to or that are online because honestly, I feel like I'm cheating the process. I really want to have an understanding of this. I want to have total control over the process. I want to know the ins and outs of what goes on in the background. And there's a part of me that says, I don't need those sites where it's all in one. Well, my mind is changed. Now, I know that there are lots of sites that combine various AI image and video tools together. Some are subscription, some are free, and some are a blend. Today, I'm going to show you Promeai, what I feel is the absolute best multi-tool AI site out there. Not only because they have a lot of tools and the ones you want to use every day, but how they blend them together and have integrated the ability to move smoothly from one tool to the other is amazing, and I have spent hours here, and I'm sure that you will too. Before we go too far, let's just look at a few of the examples here in the image generation created by users of this platform. Now, what you'll notice if you're paying attention is there's a huge variety of styles, and they're all pretty great quality, actually. I mean, this artistic style, this photographic style, these are the types of images you see on platforms like Midjourney and even more specialized platforms like Ideogram, where they specialized in text, because there's lots of examples here of text being used in a very interesting way. The point is, this is not just some generic AI image generation service. They put a ton of time into this, and the models that you have access to, so the variety of images that you can create is vast. So let's go through what we're going to be looking at, because there's a lot of tools here at this site. I could literally spend hours going through this site with you and showing you in detail how every tool works. But just to keep this video to a sane length, I'm going to give as brief and high level an overview as I possibly can, while still showing you how unbelievably freaking awesome this tool is. In the image generation category, we have sketch rendering, AI image generation, creative fusion, image variation, photo to sketch, background diffusion, AI Supermodel, and text effects, and we're going to go through all of these. In image editing, there's an HD upscaler, and I want to call particular attention to this because there are a lot of upscalers on the market right now. I've reviewed several of them, and the ones that are getting the particular attention are the ones that are adding a little something to the upscale to give you a little creative edge, and this tool does that, and I'm going to show you some amazing examples of it in action. We have erase and replace, outpainting, and relighting. And it could barely be called complete if they didn't have some kind of video option, right? With all the video stuff going on today, and they have both text to video and image to video options, and they're both pretty impressive. Now, normally I would start at the top of the menu and go down, but I'm going to start from the second item, which is AI image generation, which is what most people are used to with tools like Midjourney, Leonardo, and so many others, where you type in a text prompt and you get an image. These are just a few examples of images that I've created here on the platform with all the various models they have and various techniques. This is straight text to image, no image to image. These are all strictly from prompts. You'll notice the variety of styles. And you can choose the styles down here at the bottom when you click your prompt, and you'll see we have photography, conceptual art, and within each category we have sci-fi, daily, oil color, graffiti art, things like this. So you can get just about any look you want. So here's how it works. Just up here you type in any prompt you want. A dog walking down the street in a rainy city looking sad and lost. Traffic, pedestrians, real bingy situation here. Now we choose styles. Now I'm probably going to go with photography because I like things that look real. But again, we have documentary photography, and look at all these nuanced styles. Faded film, so on, very period. It's just amazing how many styles you have access to. Now, you do have access to more styles in the premium package, which is what I'm showing you here, but you still have lots to choose from, even in the free package. We'll choose this documentary photography 22. Now we can choose the aspect ratio and the scale, and not only can we choose from predefined aspect ratios, we can also type in exactly the resolution we want up here, and you don't see that in all tools either. The artistry slider is how creative it gets between your prompt and your style. Let's just put it here in the middle. Before we generate, let me call your attention to this number right here, 0.1. Now this is their coin system, and this is how you pay for your generations. Now in the plan that I'm running right now, I start with 1,000 of these coins a month, and it shows you right here that 1/10 of a coin coin is one relaxed generation. So if you're familiar with Midjourney, you know that there are fast generations and then there are relaxed generations, and fast generations cost you a little bit more in terms of your coin. I usually use relaxed generations anyway, because what am I in such a hurry for? For one coin, you can get 10 relaxed image generations and so on. When you get down to the video generations, it's costing you as much as 2 full coins, which is like 20 images. You just keep that in mind as you go through this. Let's run this. It's going to cost us 1/10 of a coin, and you'll see that we're put into a queue. I am in the relax mode, and as a premium member, I could go up in here to fast mode, and now you'll see I went right into rendering. So that is an advantage of having the premium membership if you don't want to wait for a lot of renders. And here's our sad dog. Look at that. That is pretty impressive, wouldn't you say? If you want to download this image, you can click this button here and you'll see that you have choices. Preview download, full, normal 4 times, and HD upscale. If you're on the free program, you can just download the preview download at the lower resolution. If you choose the full download, if you have the premium, it's going to upscale it to, in this case, 1344 by 768. Let me go ahead and show you the difference. I'm going to download the preview download, and then I'm going to download the full download, and we're going to look at them side by side. Okay, so this is pretty impressive, wouldn't you say? Now let's see if we can get this up to about the same size and go side by side. Here's the original image magnified to about the same size as our upscaled image, and it's very easy to see the difference in clarity. Without doing the HD upscaler, let's go extreme and do the normal 4 times upscaler and just see what it gives us. Well, here's our side by side of the original low resolution with the one we just did with the 4 times, but this is only at 30% magnification. So let's pop it up to 100 to see what we're really looking at here. When you take the upscaled image up to 100%, you do see a little bit of anti-aliasing here. Now remember, this isn't their special HD upscale, which we'll look at later. This is just their standard upscale, and we did go extreme with this. Let's be real. It's very rare that you're going to need an image of this resolution, but this is the original low res enlarged to approximate the size of this, and you can see it did a respectable job. The next feature is sketch rendering, and the idea behind this tool is to take a sketch that you may have drawn and convert it into an image of any style you want, photorealistic or otherwise. So for example, with this building, in this example, you can see that the original image was basically a black and white drawing. You may have noticed in my personal AI image history that I generated this image here, a crudely drawn black and white sketch of a tree with a tire swing hanging from a branch. I did that so that I could demonstrate the sketch rendering feature. These are some examples that I got, and you can see if you mouse over this little icon here, you can see the before. And there's another interesting way that you can compare too with all of these images that you create. You have a side-by-side view, or you can do the slider view, which is a nice little before and after view. Also, a nice feature with the side-by-side is that you can zoom in on your image. This comes in really handy when you're doing some upscaling later. One of the ways I can show you how this works is to simply remix any one of these. So if you click remix on an image, it's going to bring you back to the original state that that image was created so that you can tweak any of the parameters. So you'll see up here that it brought back my image and the render mode that I had chosen for that particular run of it. So now look at all of these different styles. We have photography, we have product design, we have interior design, and you can see examples of kind of what you can expect. Architecture, landscape, which is what we'll look at here. So let's say landscape design, and let's choose countryside landscapes. Now that we've got the model, we want to choose the render mode. And one way you can look at this is how closely does the image that you generate match the exact lines and outline and shape of your original image. So if you want it to match exactly, like I did with most of these examples here, you would choose the precise render mode. If you want a little bit of leeway, you would do outline and then further and further along until it takes your original image and turns it into a concept. And you have all sorts of other choices to play with. So in this case, let's choose precision. I won't type any additional prompt, but if I wanted to, I could say it's raining. I could add anything I wanted to this image and then click generate. This is what we just did. It does a nice job. Look at the side by side. Very nice. Now, it doesn't have to be things like trees and landscapes and buildings. You could do things with fonts too. Even though there is a particular text tool, it's very similar to this in how it works. So I just took this black and white image of my name and ran a particular style on it. And now I've got this style. So let's say I wanted to remix this. I'll show you what we had. We had games and anime style. The render mode was precise. And then I don't think I put any text. No, I didn't. So let's choose a different style. Let's choose a game theme design. We'll do cartoon style. And in this case, instead of precise, let's go concept and see what it does with my name. Okay, wow, it went really nuts. I mean, it's in there. You can definitely see my name, and it's very cartoony. Now let's contrast that with maybe something like soft edge instead of concept. See what a difference, right? It's still very nice though. So I encourage you to play with these render styles because you just never know what you're gonna get. So let's move on to Creative Fusion. This one is wild. You take two different images and you combine them together to create something new and amazing. So here are some examples from the user base. What this did is it took a black and white outline drawing, combined it with this image here, and created this. So in this case, we had originally this image here. We combined it with this image here and got this style. Here's one I did. I took an image of me and then combined it with this image here, and then ended up with this. Let's say I wanted a different style for this. There are, again, so many to choose from in their example style images. You could scroll and 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 apply any of these, like even if it doesn't seem appropriate. Like, why would I apply this car style to my face? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's do outline mode. We'll put the style intensity right about in the middle and we'll generate. And then we come up with this. But you can choose any image on the whole entire planet, including ones that you've created yourself. So let's say I wanted to use, I don't know, this style here. So now we have the broken egg theme all over this picture. Now you could also use this kind of like your sketch rendering tool to create a style with this. So let's say we have this black and white sketch. Let's just choose this style real quick. We'll put the style intensity up to 86. We'll click generate and boom. We'll do another one, and this gives me an opportunity to show you one of my favorite features of this whole platform, which is what I was alluding to at the beginning about how all of these tools are integrated one to each other. So let's go back to my image generation history. And let's just mouse over the dog we did earlier, and you'll notice this edit icon. When you mouse over it, a menu pops up which gives you access to all of the other tools, which means I can send this image to any of these tools for immediate work on it at any time. So let's send this image to Creative Fusion just by clicking here. And it loads it up ready to go and choose a style. So let's choose this style here, click on generate, and there's our result. Just one click to convert this image into something like this. I wouldn't even know how to prompt that. So let's say I wanted this to be a different animal than a robo dog. For this, we can use the image variation tool. If we want to send this image there, we can just hover over edit, click on image variation. Here we type the instructions for varying the image. So we're going to give this a try. We'll say, make the robot an elephant instead of a dog, even though it kind of looks like a cat dog there. And we're going to move the variation up. I want to get pretty aggressive with it, and let's generate and see what it does. So there you go. It changed the room considerably, maybe because of all the variation I put in there, but it definitely changed them to elephants, and they are in that style. Why don't we take the variation down to maybe 58% and see what we get? Okay, so you can see that the room is more similar to the original, and it's added in a friend, which is sort of a cross between a dog, cat, and an elephant. You can just continue to tweak these prompts until you get what you want. Here's another example. Here's the original image, and then the prompt was holding a basketball. So it changed it to this. So the face itself changed dramatically too, because it's not keeping the same model or anything. We'll do another one. We'll say wearing a red dress, and we'll lower the variation, see if we can minimize the impact on the face and still get the red dress. So what we end up with is a pretty different image. There are other ways to get the result we were going for just then where the face doesn't have to change, and we're going to show you that in the AI Supermodel section, so stay tuned for that. Here's another example from the community. This is the original image. It's just kind of a winding road. They didn't put a prompt or anything like that. They just varied the image by 98% and ended up with this. So in essence, it's the same idea. It's an aerial view of some windy road on a shore with some trees, both times, but it is varied considerably. So you're probably getting the idea of what image variation is by now. Now let's move on to sort of the opposite of sketch rendering and go to photo to sketch. So it's probably no surprise what happens here. We can just look at a few examples from the community and see what's happening. This is the final result, and this is the original image. It takes an original photograph like this and converts it into any number of a variety of sketch styles. Let's do one. Let's just pop back over into one of my image generations that I did before. We'll hover over edit. We will go photo to sketch with the shark. And now down here we have our styles to choose from, design sketch or art sketch. And again, several to choose from. with our render modes as well. Here we have precise or outline, which means it's either going to stick directly to the precise outlines of this image or give it a little creative leeway, and that's what I generally like to do. This, I think, seems more like a character than a landscape, so I'm going to choose character sketch. I could have the AI add some graphic element to this by adding something to the prompt here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to click on generate, and then here's our before and after. So now if you're anything like me, you get an image like this and now you want to put it back through the process of the sketch renderer. So let's do that. Let's go to edit. Let's take it over to sketch rendering. Let's choose a style. I'm going to choose steampunk. I'm going to choose soft edge and I'm going to click generate. And that's a little too gold for me. I don't like that one. I'm going to go back and just choose natural and see what happens. Okay, that's interesting. I'm not sure why I'm getting that. Let's prompt it and say, a realistic great white shark, gray skin, textured, sharp white fangs in murky blue water. Let's click generate. Still not really the level of realism I wanted. Here's an idea. Let's Frankenstein something together. Let's generate an image. Realistic photo of a great white shark in attack position. Close, scary. Why not? We'll go general cinematic. We'll put some artistry up in there. We just want to get a base image. Now we have this gnarly shark. What I'm going to do now is add this to my asset library so I can easily refer back to it. That's done by clicking this little folder here that says save to assets. I'm going to go back over here to our sketched shark. I'm going to send this over to Creative Fusion. And for the style image, I'm going to choose custom and I'm going to choose the shark we just did. I'm going to put the style intensity to about half. I'm going to go precise here and just see what happens and click generate. Oh my God, that is horrifying. You can use photo to sketch for more obvious ways, like taking a photograph of somebody and creating a sketch out of it. These are just some more examples of what the community has done. Truly, if you scroll the results of what other people are getting with this particular tool, you can see so much variety and super high quality. One of the things that is most consistent about this platform is the quality of the images. It's all really amazing. So to give you an idea of what background diffusion does, it's probably easier just to look at examples that the community has done. For example, you could take an image that starts like this and completely remove the background, or start with an image like this of the car and change the background completely to something else, or take a simple product image like this and put it on a set like this. So let's look at text effects. Just as you would expect, it allows you to do things like this. Now, it's a little misleading in that you're not actually typing text and this occurs. You're taking images of text. For example, this person used an image like this and then ran the process and got an image like this. Same with all of these. We start with one image. Doesn't have to be black and white, but it is an image. And as you can see here, it doesn't have to just be text. It can be any image, but this tool is ideal for creating text effects. So for example, I had this, that I turned to this, and this, and this, but I also took just a black and white logo and turned it into this, and even this. In this case, I started with a logo and ended up with something like this. So what if we start with a logo like this? I don't know, just something random I found on the web. You'll notice it's not black and white. We can choose any of these models. We have realistic, calligraphy, light and shadow, and then material. Let's just choose a realistic preset. I won't do any prompting. Let's just say plum. We'll leave the render mode precise so it really hugs the outline of the logo. Won't add any text, and click generate. Okay, so it kind of made a plum out of one of the arrows, but it kept Bob Doyle Media nice and readable. Let's choose a style like cartoon illustration. Interesting, that's a little too creative there. And I can also turn off all styles and just do a prompt. And one of my favorites to do is embroidery, and I'll say on a napkin. Look at that, that makes my soul so happy. I could certainly mess with it and get it more precise and try different colors, but you get the idea how easy it is to stylize a logo. I mean, look at that. I could give that to my grandmother. If you create a lot of AI art, and especially if you're going to publish it or print it, you're going to need to have some kind of upscaler, because the memory required to create an image that is ready for a poster or a billboard, it just doesn't make any sense. Much easier to create a lower resolution and then upscale it using any of a variety of technologies. Now, we've reviewed a lot of upscalers just recently here on this channel, And now I'm going to show you this one. Now this HD upscaler is the one thing that you cannot even try with the free program, but I'm going to show it to you anyway, just in case this is something that you're interested in, and maybe you've shopped some of the other upscalers that have some of these kind of features, and you've said, nah, that's a little bit too expensive. Now, given everything you get with a membership, I really want you to consider this if this upscaling looks good to you. So this original image I created here in this program using Creative Fusion, probably a picture of a shark and a picture of a man. As I move the slider across, you can see the detail, but let's go to the side by side so we can really zoom in and you can see just how much detail was added to this. So this is a lot more than just a simple, we're going to make this a higher resolution. We've got some jazz going on in here. So AI plays a part in this upscaling. So let me show you how this works. So if we look at this image here and we look underneath it, it says creative options high. You actually have 3 creative options, high, middle, and low. Let's take a look at the original image of this one. So if you scroll back and forth, you see this was actually an image where I swapped my own face on it, and then I wanted to upscale it. In doing so, I no longer really look like me. That's because I had the creative option on high, and it used a lot of creativity on its own. But you can see it did a great job of upscaling. So much detail here in the tie, I giggle sometimes because it's so good. But what if I had done that at the low option rather than the high? Well, that's what this looks like up here, and you'll see that my face was retained. So let's take a look at this side by side. As you scroll in, you can see we still have nice detail, but if you look at the face, you can actually see anti-aliasing. You don't want that. So we've seen that it completely changes the face at high creativity. It keeps the face, but it's a little low res on low. So let's remix this and use the middle creative option. It gives you 2 basic models to choose from, natural and animate, and I like to do stuff that's realistic, so I'm choosing the natural model, and I'm going to choose middle for the creative options, and you'll see that I have the original prompt that was used to create this image because that will help guide the AI in keeping it consistent. So now I'm going to click generate. So with creativity set to middle, I still retain most of my face. You can see it changing a little bit, but let's see what it looks like when we zoom in. Still a little anti-alias there along the side. Everything else looks good, it's just the face. Now the face itself was a face replacement and it was low res, so this is just basically not touching too much of the original here on the face for whatever reason. So let me show you another example of the differences between using those creative options. With this girl here, this is the original, and although it's a great image, not a lot of detail in the skin, so I wanted to upscale it. So I used the high creative option at first. When I went to upscale it, I created a prompt, which was realistic skin texture and detailed eye iris. I wanted the AI to add some skin texture and then add some detail to the eye iris. And what we got was this image, and you can see that there's just a little bit too much going on with the skin. Let's look at it up close. While we've got great detail and skin texture, this just does not look good on a little girl. This looks like an older person, and it's just a little bit exaggerated. Now again, that's on the high creative option. So I ran this one again at the middle creative option, and it's much, much better. We've got the great skin details, but it's not too much. She doesn't look like an old woman anymore. That's just a fantastic upscale. So use those creative options wisely and experiment and see what works best for your particular image. So remember when we created this dog and we went to download it and we used the full download option for the upscale and we looked at the results there and they were pretty good, but let's take a look at it with the HD upscaler. I'm gonna use the natural template again, and I'm gonna paste in the original prompt, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the creative options on high and see what happens. Okay, here we go. Here's the original, and I'm just scrolling across. And you can see, if you look at the road and the petals, you see some stuff sharpening up a little bit. Now at this magnification, it's hard to tell the difference. So let's download it. I know this is a crude display, but here is the original 677 by something image, blown up 413% to get to about the size of the upscaled images. This second one here is the one that we originally downloaded near the beginning of the video. That was just the basic upscale. And you can see that while there is more detail than this image here, it doesn't have that fine detail that we want. And then this is the image that we did with the HD upscale. And you can see it's just much, much cleaner. It looks much more natural. It doesn't look digital at all. It looks amazing. And if you look at the dog, if you look at his face, you can see that there are some changes made from the original. It's a little bit different, but in essence, it's the same dog and the detail is amazing. So let's go ahead and keep working with this dog image to demonstrate erase and replace. I'm just going to mouse over this and I'm going to click on erase and replace. It segments out the image. As I mouse over, you can see that it selects various elements of the image, and I can click on and select as many as I want. So let's say I want to change what the dog is wearing. I can mouse over the little vest he's wearing here and just click it. I can replace it, or I can repair it, or I can recolor it. So let's just hit replace and instead say red knit jersey and click generate. Okay, so now you can see that the outfit has been changed. But let's say we wanted to get rid of the entire dog. Click the dog, the vest is selected. I think I've got the dog there. I'm not gonna put anything in here, and I'm just gonna click generate and see what happens. So the dog is gone, but the shadow remains. Let's see if we can do something about that. Can the shadow be selected? So the dog and this part of the street, including the shadow, can be selected. And let's put in a prompt, a rainy city street. So we will replace the dog with hopefully a rainy city street and get rid of the shadow and everything. Well, that's interesting. I don't remember prompting someone holding an umbrella. Let's try an empty rainy city street. I do not know why it is continuing to put this person there. What if instead of trying to make it disappear, we just replaced it and said a cat wearing a baseball cap and wool sweater? Maybe we need a little bit of work here. What if we try the repair? I've never tried the repair. Now we got this image. I'm going to click on erase and replace. And I'm going to click all parts of this, and I'm just going to click repair and see what happens. Well, it's definitely getting better. The face is getting better, and maybe if we just kept repairing it, it would get better and better. Let's look at some of the things that the community has done so you can get an idea. So they took this bottle and replaced what was in it. They took this stone and replaced it with a ring. And in this one, they took this seating against the wall and removed it. So even though it's not perfect, it is a form of inpainting that actually does work. You just have to keep at it, but that's pretty much consistent with every AI platform. Outpainting allows you to take an image like this and expand it with a prompt to something like this. So it's a way to expand upon your image and add more scenery to it if you'd like. So you start with your image, which you can move around and resize on the screen however you'd like. You can also change the scale of the final image to determine how much is being filled in. You're going to get better quality if you do it a little bit at a time rather than doing something like this where you're expecting the AI to fill in all the blanks. Now what I'm going to show you right now, again, isn't really ideal because we're asking it to create a very large image, but to give you the idea here, I'm not even going to type a prompt. I'm just going to move this image in here. I'm going to keep the scale as it is, and I'm going to click generate. So even without a prompt, it did a great job. It knew exactly what to do, and at first glance, the detail seems pretty good, but let's take a look. If we zoom in, because of how we did it and we asked it to create all this stuff, we lose a little bit of the resolution here. What we could do is take this image here and bring it into the upscaler and bring all the detail back. Shall we do that? I'm just bringing it in real quick, keep the creative options on high, not use a prompt, hit generate. Oh my gosh, much better. Look at that detail. That's freaking crazy. That's the HD upscale at work, with no extra prompts. Incredible. So you may remember when we were going to try to change the color of that little girl's shirt. This is where you would do this in AI Supermodel. It allows you to take any starting image, for example, something like this, and then change various aspects of the image, including the face, hair, the clothes, the background, everything. So you can see that with the same image, with different prompting, I was able to create totally different images, different styles, different clothing, and so on. So let's take this girl. When you load in an image, the first thing it does is it analyzes it and finds segments. So if you've chosen auto selection here, as you mouse over the image, it will highlight the various places that it's segmented. And when you highlight an image, it is protected from any changes you make. Let's say we want to keep the face the same, but change everything else. Once we've selected the face, now we go down to select model. And we have various options for female and we have various options for male. So let's just choose this model here, the Central Asians. And then we will click the model settings. We can choose hairstyle, age, the size, expression, and clothing. So let's change the hairstyle to this wave. The age isn't really going to matter too much because the face is staying the same. The same with the expression because we're not changing the face at all. But we'll change the clothes to, let's say, skiing attire. And then we can select the background, and where would we maybe ski? A river walk? No. How about a ski lodge? Okay, and then click generate. And there you go. The face has stayed exactly the same, but everything else has changed. Now, in addition to auto selection, there's also manual selection. So you can choose a brush size and paint the areas, which may be easier if this segment didn't work very well. Let's talk about relighting. It allows you to digitally relight your image. Let's just choose an image that we'd like to relight. When we load the image up, it starts off with some default lights, which you can see the effect of as I drag them around. When you select a light, the settings for that light show up down here. So as I click this around, you'll see that it's a green light, which I could change the color of just by clicking that and choosing it over to orange. I can choose the distance to the image. You can see as I scroll back and forth, the image gets closer to the background or further away. And then of course the radius of the light. So let's get this here, and you can see as I adjust this, way out here, you can see how the light is being affected. So you can see by moving these lights around, you can add some really nice effects to the image, and you can just keep adding lights. New light here, you can move it around, change the color, and then there's the overall ambient light that affects the entire scene. So as I change the ambient light, you can see that it affects absolutely everything. So it's a super easy way to add some dynamic lighting effects to an image that may otherwise seem a little bit flat. Now we get to check out the video features. These features are premium features, but right now while it's in beta, you can still have access to them in the free membership. So get in there and try this stuff out now before they change that. You have two different ways to generate these videos. One is image to video and the other is text to video. With image to video, you simply upload an image, hit go, and it will animate it based on what's going on in the image. Let's take a look at some samples from the community. So some of the animations are simple sort of camera pans and things like this. This one we've got some head movement going, which is really nice. Now that's very impressive. We have a walking motion from a still image. Woman on a horse, the hair flowing, very nice, just from uploading a still image. Here's one that I did. Don't worry, she has a parachute. She's highly trained. And here's another one, an underwater scene. It does seem to break apart a little bit here. That's because of the nature of how they're doing this particular animation. Sometimes it works great and sometimes the thing breaks apart. For example, with this one with Amelia Earhart waving, the hand gets all broken up and the face starts to get weird. It's just not a very good example. And yet other times you get things like this that are really, really good. So let's try one. We're gonna use this one because it's got some action implied. You'll see here that we have two settings, low and high. So we're gonna go high to get maximum animation and see what happens. Check it out, we've got some waves going in the background, good water motion, nothing really going on with his face, but I do like this though. So now let's look at text to video, starting with some examples from the community. Got some nice ripple effects going here, and this is the prompt. It's pretty long in this case. This is one of my favorites. Starting completely from scratch with a text prompt, we get something like this with beautiful grapes and great fluid motion. We've got some arm movement there, but again, near the end, we start to see hands disappear and strange things happen. So there's definitely some animation styles that work better than others. In these examples that I'm going to show you that I did, I actually went to ChatGPT and had it learn about all of these AI image generators and video generators and learn what the particular generators like in terms of a description to create a video with a lot of movement. And so what it did was it spit out some prompts that actually gave me some really great results in terms of movement. Now this is the kind of prompt that would normally for me break up with the hands, but this one actually works really well. Here's another one with nice cloud movement in the sky and some nice very subtle rippling in the water. The swans really aren't doing anything, but it's still a nice image, very peaceful. I really liked how this one turned out too. We've got the ripple effects in the water, the faces don't completely break apart, she's even trying to do some talking here. Here we've got a baby elephant splashing around, so it's all in slow motion, but we still have some nice movement here. Whereas on the other hand, sometimes we just get a freaking horrific mess. This is a nice one too. I would have loved to have seen his mouth move and his fingers move, but in terms of just creating a dynamic image that's interesting to look at, I think it does a great job. Here's another one where the prompt was generated by chat, as well as this one, which I'm really happy with because we do have an attempt at least at running properly. Definitely happy with this one. To come from a text prompt only and to get this kind of splashing and the proper type of movement in the legs, really impressive. So as you can see, Promeai is an amazing suite of tools, and they're all integrated nicely with one another. You can easily move one result you get into another form of processing to create something even better. Let's look real quick at the pricing. Now the main differences between these levels are number of images you can generate, whether or not you have commercial use, and the access to some of the features like HD upscaling and video. You can look through this and see what's suitable for you. Now my first reaction to this pricing was that it was a little bit much. For $40 a month to be able to get commercial licensing and all of that. But as I have been using it, I'm realizing that it's a pretty generous plan. I've been able to generate a lot of images and a lot of animations and a lot of upscalings for the purposes of creating this video, and I've done so many that you'll never see. And I've still got plenty to go. If I had to choose one site that combined tools together, this far and away would be the winner. The quality of the output and how things are interrelated just blows me away. If you've never tried Promeai before, go check out the free version and really put it through its paces, especially while they've got the video options available to you in the beta. and see what you think. If you're not a person who is a geek like me and having all this stuff running on your system, and you're not a tech head, and you want an easy solution where you can go to one place and get all of your AI needs taken care of, Promeai is hard to beat. I absolutely love it. I spend a ton of time here. I'm playing with it constantly and seeing how I can make better and better results. If you get into Promeai or have already been using it and know of some cool things that I missed, let me know in the comments and I can do a follow-up. As mentioned, every section of the site could have its own in-depth video to really explore the concept. But hopefully this has inspired you to go check it out for yourself. I've got the link in the description, of course, and I'd love to know what you think of it. Promeai has definitely become one of my overall favorite AI sites. So if this is the type of information you enjoy learning about, why not hit the subscribe button? It hardly hurts at all.
If you subscribe now, I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you do not, I will look for you. I will find you. And I